Hello and welcome to Live with Melva and Jesse. Actually, it's Jesse and Melva. So happy. I'm so happy that you joined us. And Jesse's going to be with us momentarily, and I will get us started. So we're talking about betrayal and all of the layers of dealing with it. And we're taking you through a step-by-step, layer-by-layer process for a woman that we're calling Veronica. And there's many Veronicas of the world who have experienced betrayal. In Veronica's case, her betrayal has been in the form of her husband, Vernon's constant affairs. Now, they've been married for a very, 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 very long time. And I've mentioned that before in earlier parts of the series. And every time that Veronica became aware of an affair, Vernon would apologize profusely and say that, he wouldn't do it again. I love you dearly, blah, blah, blah. And then she'd catch him again. Now, at this point, Veronica said this last affair was like the straw that broke the camel's back, because there were other ways that Vernon was not available to Veronica as well. But this one was the most heartbreaking. And so what we've been doing over these series is to support Veronica, to share with you Veronica's story and her journey of navigating through this, because we know through our counseling practices and also through our workshops and online work that we do, that there are many people suffering with, and I am using the word suffering, stressed out by this painful experience. Now, sometimes it's the men, but most of the time it's the women who are married or in relationship with a man who has decided that having an affair is part of his lifestyle, but it's not something that he shared with her in the beginning. In the beginning, you take the vows, and the part of the vows that you say that you're dedicated to one another, he's violated that. So here's what we're going to cover this time, because this is like part 7 of the series, and there's more layers that we want to introduce to you. And those of you who have been affected and impacted by a situation like this, we are offering you the opportunity to follow us on the journey and do some of the exercises that Veronica has been doing. So far, this time, what we're going to be covering is part 4. This is the 7th layer, but we're covering part 4 of what is going to be important for Veronica to have in her plan so that she can experience the results of feeling peaceful, hopeful, and powerful, even though she's going through this experience with Vernon. We're also going to share with you how this step that she's taking this time supports her growth and transformation. And if you're in a situation like Veronica, and the betrayal that you may be going through doesn't necessarily have to be an affair. It could be a broken promise. It could be anything that you're disappointed about. These steps will help you as well. And then we're going to give you a preview of part 8 of Veronica's story and her journey. And then we're going to invite you to for a complimentary consultation to work with us to give you a jump start in moving forward. So let's get started. So here's a quick review. And as you look at the review, just notice that there's a checklist of things that Veronica has done so far. And I wanted to put them in like a snapshot so that you could have an idea of the steps that she has taken. So first, she created a safe space for inner reflection. That's really important to do when you are going through a process. of, or going through an experience when you're impacted in a negative way. So she's done that. She's asked and answered the question what it is that she can and cannot change. She cannot change Vernon. She cannot change his decisions, but she can change how she deals with her feelings, how she manages her thoughts, and how she responds. And she decided that she wants to be more proactive in how she responds this time. She wants to think it through so that when she does respond, she does have the feelings that she wants, the peacefulness, the hopefulness, and the powerfulness. Now, that doesn't mean that she's hoping that that's going to happen in her relationship, in her marriage with Vernon. She doesn't know where that's going to go, but she wants to have those feelings no matter what, not only with Vernon, but also in other areas of her life. We described how she wants to feel, the three feelings that just described. We also described her vision of what she will look like when she is feeling like that. What kind of action will she be taking? How will she express herself? How grounded will she feel when she goes through that? So she has her vision, and then we took her through a process for her to identify where she is now. What is her starting point, so that she is very clear about where the gap is and what the gap is between where she is now and where she wants to be. And that's really important to know your starting point. And then we clarified her values, and her values that are in alignment with the results that she wants to have for herself, because she wants to become the change that she wants to see. Whose quote is that? I'll think about it in a minute because I use it all the time. So all of these, she has this outline, she has this context for moving forward. And when we think about the 7 pieces that she has accomplished so far, then we can look within the context of what this series is all about, finding the hidden treasures within. Because each time she takes a step, she's tapping into what's already there, and she's maximizing what's there. Because all of us have hidden treasures to support us to be our best self. And sometimes they lay dormant and they don't get activated until something happens, until we go through a challenge. So we'd like for you to look at the steps and the stages that Veronica is going through as ways to tap into what's already inside and bringing it forth. So this time, the layer that we're focusing on, the layer that we're focusing on is the part that we're focusing on is mental health. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, Melva and Ryan.
We're all together now.
Yes.
So we're focusing on attending to her mental health. And that's so important because it's just like, it's so important to attend to our physical health, to make sure that we're physically healthy. It's important to be proactive in taking care of our mental health. So now when we talk about mental health, we're talking about several things in relationship to Veronica. One is her having a healthy response to an unhealthy situation. That's the first part. Mm-hmm. The second part is that her response is in alignment with her vision of how she wants to be, how she wants to show up in the world, not just in her marriage, in the world as that peaceful, powerful, hopeful woman. And there's other qualities, but we're just focusing on those 3. And the third part of what we're describing as mental health is her response that supports her emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Mm-hmm. That's in alignment with the feelings that she wants to have.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
because we know how important mental health is.
It's true.
And you don't have to have mental illness to work on mental health. And if you do have mental illness, there are healthy ways and healthy habits to develop that will support you and empower you. And the 3 that we mentioned for Veronica can also work for you, no matter what your diagnosis is, if you're going through a mental health situation. Because what Veronica is going through, it's not challenging. It's stressful. It's draining like all of the energy out of her, you know. And when we're flooded with emotions and we're filled with negative thoughts about what we're experiencing, we're wired to be very reactive. And in our reactions, when we're spontaneous and we have that knee-jerk reaction, we're either striking out or we're shutting down. That is not healthy.
Yes, and I'm thinking that one of the ways that people live their lives in a relationship that is not very happy or pleasant is that they spend a lot of their time unhappy, stressed, angry, all of those kind of negative emotions. And it's almost as though I'm not going to be happy if you're not going to make me happy.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
So if you're not happy and not making me happy, then this is not a very pleasant place to be. So in other words, I've allowed my partner here to take all of my joy, all of my happiness, all of my fulfillment in life and so forth. And that's a shame to be giving away your life, your joy, your happiness, your all of the things that you have desired in life, that you're going to give all that away because you're with a partner that makes you unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are reasons why it's so important to attend to your mental health.
Absolutely.
And here's a few other reasons. One is that we all go through challenges in life. I mean, all of us do. We do, you know, and not necessarily just challenges in our marriage, just other parts of our lives. That's why we focus on love, marriage, and life, because life will present challenges to support us to grow. And also, when we are working with someone together, like in a mastermind kind of thing, because I call love relationships and marriage, I call them mastermind kind of situations,
Right.
where people support each other to work through things together. And when people get a new response to a similar challenge that they've experienced in some kind of form over the years, when they get a new response that is positive and inspiring, there's a healing quality. We call it a healing balm, BALM. Sometimes it sounds like I'm saying healing bomb, BOMB, but I'm saying healing BAL, BAL, wait, BAL. Let me spell it right now, BALM, right? So
sometimes it might really feel like that.
Yeah, right. So the recipient of a healthy response from another person is very healing. And what most people don't know is not only is the healing in the present situation, since this old brain, not the logical brain, but this old brain does not know the difference between the past and the present, healing takes place across the board, all the way back to that. And so, so that's the recipient. Now, the person who has the proactive, reflective thought through response, they grow because they're shifting out of being spontaneous and having that knee-jerk reaction. The other reason why this attending to mental health is very important is the way that a person copes by being reactive. It sabotages the results that they want. I mean, they're still angry, they're still hurt, they're still scared. And so there needs to be a new response that is uplifting. And then the third reason why this is important, in addition to what you shared, Jesse, is because it's helpful to have a process or an objective person to support overcoming tunnel vision and blind spots, because we are wired to see certain situations a certain way. And our brain is wired to be negative.
Right.
There's research on that. The brain is wired to be negative. So we're wired to see the worst part of anything. I mean, we're wired for this fear response. And so when something goes awry, it's like that primitive part of the brain, they interpret that as life or death catastrophe. And that's why many people go into survival mode. So Veronica has been in survival mode over and over and over throughout the years with Vernon. And so she decided that she's ready to shift. She's ready to overcome tunnel vision and her blind spots so that she can have the results that she wants for herself, so that she can become the change that she wants to see. What the change she wants to see.
So that she's not giving her entire livelihood and her life and all of her hopes and dreams and aspirations over to one person.
Yeah.
And having to depend upon them to be the sole source of her happiness and joy and fulfillment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're totally in alignment.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have the why. And so now let's look at how Veronica attended to her mental health. So we're going to give you 4 things that she did. There's a whole list of things that she could do, but we're going to give you 4 that we think would apply to anyone who's going through a situation like Veronica's. The first one is grieving the loss of her dream. And we talked about it earlier, that was going to be something that would be important. And this is going to be part of her plan. So what we've been doing the past couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks after, we're identifying the elements of her plan. So she knows exactly what she's going to put together so that she has a blueprint for navigating the gap from where she is feeling devastated, to where she wants to be. The second thing is it's going to be important for Veronica to say goodbye to the dream that she had with Vernon. I mean, for years and years and years, she thought that life was going to be different.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning, during the romantic stage, he fooled her. So she had the dream in the beginning. She thought it was going to work. And then over the years, she's convinced that in terms of who he really is right now, I mean, he could change, but we're not talking about him yet. I keep saying that. He don't get airtime yet. So, but it's important for her to say goodbye. And there is a goodbye process for her to go through.
Absolutely.
So, and she wants to say goodbye because she needs space. She needs to create a vacuum for what she is going to replace that dream with that was shattered. And actually, maybe it's 5 things that she did, because after she did the goodbye process, she did a hello process for what it is that she is focusing on experiencing in the future with her future self. So she's not going to take her past self, her limited self, into her future. So she's going to say hello to that. And that's what her plan is all about, and why all these pieces are so important. And then so that was the third thing. Okay, so the fourth thing is, and the third thing is not on the slide because I just thought about that just now. The fourth part is that she's going to infuse her thoughts that supports the outcome of how she wants to experience herself, how she wants to be. You know, we call them beatitudes. How do you want to be in love, marriage, and life? She wants to be her best self. So she's going to infuse her brain with thoughts of being that person that she wants to be, her future self, right? And so now one of the processes that we use with that is that we support people to think about three things. I'm trying to remember who I learned this process from. It's not mine. I learned it, I love it, I used it myself. And that is on a day-to-day basis, she is really clear. I mean, she gets her mind mentally prepared for the day. You know, we call it sometimes getting all prayed up. So the first thing that she does is she decides on what she's going to focus on, what she's going to focus her mind on, so that she's not focused on tunnel vision. The second thing that she's doing in terms of infusing her mind with positive thoughts, the second thing that she decides before she gets started during her sacred time of prayer and meditation is what she's going to let go of. So she's going to let go of anything that gets in the way of her being on purpose, being in alignment with the Veronica, the future self that she wants to be, no matter what situation she's facing. And then the fifth part is she can't help that negative feelings are going to be, that they're going to surface, and that negative thoughts. But she has a process to neutralize those feelings. We taught her the emotional freedom technique, the tapping and what have you. So she uses that process when those feelings surface. And I have to tell you, I am a proponent of the emotional freedom technique. I mean, personally for myself, and also the clients that I have taken people through. I took you through it.
You absolutely did.
And what was it like for you?
It was wonderful.
Yeah. And so anyways, so that is how Veronica attends to her mental health, so that she's more proactive, so that her responses in any situation with Vernon and other situations, that she shows up as peaceful, hopeful, and powerful. What I forgot to mention to you is Vernon right now is not in the home. They are having a separation, and Veronica is taking the time to do what she needs to do so she can decide what she needs to do to move forward with him. So I hope or without. So that is something that she is going to. So that's why she's taking her time to do this work, and she's not doing it all by herself. She's getting support, and we're going to talk about this word time after next. All right, so that is what Veronica is doing to get through this, why she's doing it, and how she's doing it. Now it's your turn. So our question to you is, how healthy is your response to an unhealthy situation? How healthy is your response when someone is hurtful to you, when someone is disrespectful to you, when someone betrays you? Because the feelings that come up are real. And what's important to come through this stronger is to be really clear about having a healthy response that is healing for you, as well as growth producing. However you're responding right now to whatever you're going through, is it in alignment with the person that you want to be?